Hello, welcome to Develop Diary number 3. Yay, list box example. Really short version. Alright, so here's my list box. It's got stuff in it. You can click things, you can double click in it. I'll run a delegate, and that delegate is currently logging information about what I just clicked, along with a bunch of the log information that I didn't clean up, so the log's gonna be messy. Anyways, so here's some data, and these are just integers, but they're actually stored as strings. They're just randomly generated, and if you click the headers, they can be sorted by alphabetical goodness, and if you click begin, they can be sorted in descending order. It toggles descending, depending on if it's the first or second time you click, blah blah blah. It just flips a boolean, and these fields can be added to or manipulated at runtime. In fact, they are built at runtime because I hate UI scenes. This isn't actually a UI scene. It's an object that uses canvas a lot. It's called from the HUD. But I call it a UI scene because I named the class a UI scene because I am a little bit mad about UI scenes. Alright, so this is working, and this list box example up here, that's actually a text element, and this whole gray thing in the middle, that's a list box element. The thing in the background, that's a rectangle element. And these are elements derived from object ABUI element, not from the whole UI root thing. That stuff is annoying and stupid, and I hate it. And it's going to be phased out anyway in favor of scale form. So I figured, why not just make code that will work without UI scene? And even though this does rely on UI scene just to open a class thing, that can be easily be recoded and things like that. It just takes a little bit more time to do all that. And I'd rather just want a working field box right now. Now, this is a list box example, so I'm going to go ahead and open the code. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and open up my list box example UI scene. Wherever that is, I don't know, there it is. Alright, so here's my list box example, and it's only 97 lines of code, and 40 of those lines is just logging, or actually 43 of those lines are just example delegate functions. But in order to make a UI scene in my little system, you extend AB UI scene, and then you can go ahead and make any variables you want. I just added a variable or a list box so I can cache access to it, so I don't have to keep calling up or keep looking for this list box in the UI scene element collection. Alright, so that said, I'm going to have two local variables here come out of this list box. It gives me three UI elements I'm going to be implementing here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to call the initialize function in the base class, and this initialize here, it's not the same initialize as in a traditional UI scene. It's called after all that stuff. Long story, but you can every time you want to set up some new stuff in here, you want to use the initialize function. That's declared in AB UI scene, which extends from object. Fun stuff, right? All right, so yeah, deriving from object. This is how we're handling all our UI scene stuff. We're not even touching UI root, things like that. Alright, so we're going to call this event here, and this tells, hey, let's initialize our scene or whatever. Because this is just a list box example, first thing I want to do is I'm going to add a rectangle element that I have created. Set bound 00, 10, 24, 78. That's just the full size. Everything's based on the 1024 system, similar to UI scenes, but everything is resolution independent. I'll show an example of that in a second. Alright, so that was not what I meant to do. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and add this new element to our scene elements. Once again, that's declared up in AB UI scene, and that's just an array of UI elements, also declared from objects. Alright, so now we have the list box. This is the very important stuff here. So we have our rectangle, background rectangle, list box. First we're just declaring our list box. I'm going to find a way to clean up this constructor type thing. Set bounds, it's just setting its position with type, very, very simple. And here's where we add our list box fields, and this is it takes only 3 parameters here. Can take 4. The first 3 are the field name, if it's visible or not, and its size. Oops. And you can think of the size as like a percentage. There's like a ratio compared to other sizes. Right now this is 40% of the width of the whole list box. Is either 20%. If you change this to 0.5, Logray will try to take up 50%, but it won't take up 50% because these are asking for 60%. Basically, if you go over 100%, your widths are going to be normalized, and they're still going to remain they're going to keep the ratios to each other, but not so much the actual percentage. So you can think of these as more like the ratio of widths, not the actual percentage, or anything. It's just ratios, because that allows for resolution, scaling, and things like that really easily. All right, not shown here, but really simple. and you can add fields at any time. It's completely at runtime. There's no need to do it just to initialize. You can do it anywhere. And yeah, in fact, you can even reorder fields, but I'll go into that later. Alright, so on command. Every list box has an on command delegate. In fact, every ABUI clickable, or any element that implements a clickable interface, see, really simple, has an on command delegate and an on click. Now, for buttons, these are pretty much the same thing. On click, you're going to pretty much end up running on command. But for a list box, on click is actually doing something like this. Go ahead and open up game again. Go ahead and open up my list box sample. On click is selecting an item. Now, if you double click an item, that is actually running on command for the list box, because that's when I want to actually execute something. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my logs. This is my log from, oh, I had to close this first, I guess. I'm going to close this, redo my log. Alright, so as you can see, that's the selected text, selected item 18838. That's the selected item in my list box that I double clicked. And that's the list box's do command. This here is a log from the on click, selecting an item in the list box. Pretty cool. Alright, so with that said, back to our code, back to our list box. The on command delegate is just, doesn't return anything, takes an optional integer. If you look at list box log selection, I made this long function with all this ifs and stuff. That's in the long version of this video. I just remade this, or I'm remaking this video just so it's under 10 minutes, so it'll fit on YouTube. But yeah, there's a longer version on my site. Yeah, good stuff. Alright, so with that said, you can also use this. Both of these will work just fine in that. Now, then we'll just add that to our scene elements, because that keeps it updated, everything. It's like adding a component to a static match, whatever. We do a title text, not just the thing on the top left that you see that says list box example. Title text, or the text element, has a lot of cool things, like you can have it, you can change how it fits into a certain bounding box and different things like that. Oh yeah, also all these elements have base properties like colors and stuff that you can change, and all kinds of cool stuff. Now, we end this initialize with a fill box with data, and that just means filling the list box with random data. And as you can see, there's a few ways to add data to the list box. You can either add an array of strings, and you can get you can either get an array, or you can either make your own array of strings, or you can actually do something which I should be showing off here. Is oops, wrong button. Every list box has every list box has a function called get list item, or get, what did I name it? Get template. There we go. Get template item data, and this function basically retrieves an empty array of strings that corresponds to the exact structure of your list. So if you have 8 fields, this will return an array of string with 8 fields, things like that. And there's also get item, which actually returns an item structure as opposed to an array of strings. But that's all implementation stuff. It's beyond the scope of this little video here. It's pretty cool stuff though. But for me, I'm just creating that thing manually because I need the num fields to loop through anyway. So. And as you can see, I'm just making random integer strings because that's really easy to do. And then at the end of, once every array of string is set, I just add that array of strings to my list box by calling add item by data. Data is usually an array of strings, and add item is usually a structure or a list item structure. And that's declared in list box. Go ahead and open up list box. I need to update this stupid tree thing. Alright, so list box, AB list box. This got lots of cool stuff. Yeah, it's a very bad memory management, I guess, but I want to be porting this to C++ anyway, so I'll fix it up there. Because I can't do multi-dimensional arrays in Unreal Script, so kind of did it myself. Alright, so yeah, we have a structure here, list item, and that's just an array of strings. Go figure, right? Alright, so that's a list box example.